Hi, today we'll be looking at exponentials. So let me start by writing down the topic. So we'll be looking at exponentials. Exponentials. So this is going to be our topic of discussion today. Now basically when we talk about numbers written in exponential form, an example is, say you have x to the power a. Now what you have here is called the base, and then what you have here is called the exponent. You can call it the power, or you can also call it the radical. So there are basically different names you could give to what you have here as the power. So now to start with, to explain the exponential, that is simplification of numbers or any unknown written in exponential form, to explain it, I'm going to explain by solving some examples. So let me start with the first example. Let's start with example 1. So you're told to simplify the following expressions. Now the first that we want to simplify is -4 to the power negative 2. Now what we have here is the same thing as negative into 4 to the power negative 2. Now this is exactly what we have here, -4 into power -2. Now to be able to solve this very well, we'll recall one of the laws of exponent that says if you have x to the power -a, that is the same thing as 1 all over x to the power a. So this is the definition. Whenever you have an unknown that has a negative exponent, to remove the negative sign, you reciprocate the unknown itself or the expression itself without the negative exponent. So I'm going to use this here. So what we have is -1 all over 4 to the power 2. And then this is the same thing as -1 divided by 16. Let's see another example. Another example says if you have x to the power -1 y all raised to the power 3. Now to simplify this, I'm going to lay credence to one of the laws of exponent that says if you have ab to the power n, now this is the same thing as a to the power n times b to the power n. So I'm going to apply the same rule here. Now this is the same thing as y to the power 1. So what we're going to have here is, so you have x to the power -1 times 3, then into or times y to the power 1 times 3. So what we're going to have here is going to be x to the power -3 times y to the power 3. And then to simplify this, we'll lay credence to what we have here. So this is going to be 1 all over x to the power 3 times y cubed, which is going to be y cubed all over x cubed. So let's solve one more example. Now here we have 3x to the power -1 divided by 4y to the power -1. Now all to the power -2. Now to solve this, I'm going to lay credence to one of the laws of exponent that says if you have a all over b to the power n, now this is going to give you a to the power n divided by b to the power n. So it's just like you're multiplying 1 times n, you get n, 1 times n, you also get n. So that's the same thing we're going to do here. So this is like saying this whole thing here to the power 1, then this whole thing here to the power 1. So what we're going to have is 3x to the power -1, then we have 1 times -2, that becomes -2, divided by So you have 4y to the power negative 1. Then you have 1 times negative 2. That gives you negative 2. And then to simplify this whole thing here, we're going to lay credence to what we have here. So this is going to be 3. So we have 3, this is to the power 1. So 1 times negative 2, that is negative 2. Then we have x, then negative 1 times negative 2, that is 2. Divided by, so we have 4 to the power negative 2. And then we have y to the power negative 1 times negative 2, that is 2. Now this is the same thing as, so we have 3 to the power negative 2. So we're going to lay credence to what we have here. So to remove the negative sign, I need to reciprocate the whole thing. That's 1 over 3 to the power 2 times x squared divided by, so we have 1 over 4 to the power 2. So let's push that up. Times y squared. And then when you simplify this, what we would have is 1 over 16 times x squared divided by, okay, this should be 9. Divided by 1 over 16 times y squared. And then 1 over 9 divided by 1 over 16 is going to give us 16 divided by 9 times x squared all over y squared. And then our final answer is going to be 16 times x squared, which is 16x squared divided by 9y squared. And that gives us our final answer. And then that completes the problem.